I need to put bread on my table. I'm just a working class person. I haven't reached there yet. In fact, when I reach, you also reach. We're going to reach at the same time. There's no such that Raymond is already on the gravy train. Whoever said that is drunk, drinking too much wine. You need to check him out. Raymond Trollip is a mechanic by trade, diesel, and I work with a spanner for my living. Thank God that I was identified as a commissioner by the president. That also puts a lot of money on my table to be a commissioner because it pays very well. Now, if you want to know how you become a commissioner, ask me after the meeting. Maybe you'll be, when I walk out there, you can walk in there. I'll give you all the tips. So that's how I get my money. I haven't reached the tender, I haven't reached nothing yet. I demanded from the premier KhoiSan tenders. I want to put them in my boot. Then I'll write about it. Looking for candidates that I should give these tenders to. But we haven't reached. So, the other, I'm talking about two resolutions. The one then says, say sorry projects. Give them projects to say sorry. And then Quinty said, give me the project names and where they are. So I did. I listed them. And they're there with the minister. I listed. I made 10, whereas other provinces came with 2. Other one came with 1. And Quinty asked, but where you come from, sir? Now, I'm not trying to elevate you. I'm not trying to praise. But I had the highest, the only province that came with 10 projects was us here in KZN. Then when the vehicle took off, then they wanted to grab from these projects. And then there was a fight. It was a big fight. Because you don't sleep and then when you wake up you think the door will open. Those 5 virgins were left out. Right, I won't preach, I promise. But the point is that I'm saying is that those projects now must be given before Kimberley 3. They must be given. And what are these projects? The ones that I put in. It's various projects. It's a mixture. KhoiSan mining. KhoiSan whatever, housing around Durban. KhoiSan, you name it. It's KhoiSan this, KhoiSan that. But it's projects which cover the whole KZN, the whole of Durban, and up that way, the whole of the Midlands. Projects which are very, very much big, which attract tourism to KhoiSan people, and you name it. Now, I will bring those documents the next time. Are you with me? Those documents for the projects, I will bring them and make sure. This time, I did not bring any documents besides this book. These 2 resolutions, which I want to make clear with you that 2 resolutions were taken and 2 resolutions must be implemented before Kimberley 3. I don't care what the government is saying and how they're saying it, but if they didn't implement those 2 resolutions, they said, stop right there. We want Kimberley 3, but we want the projects also to move on. Then, let's leave that there. There are other things that government promised. Might be a projects. Felton Fire, you know of that? They promised to give us 25 farms per province. Are you listening? If you like farming, then you better listen very carefully. 25 farms are hanging there before Kimberley 3. It should be handed over, not applied for, handed over and given to various KhoiSan farmers to farm. Good. There's something else that I'm reading out, but that you will pick up in the document. There's one more thing which also fills up that Kimberley implementation before Kimberley 3. So let's leave it. I think we've done with that. Now you know exactly why Kimberley 3 wouldn't just take place easily. We are saying, you do these things, you sign for them, do them, sir. Otherwise, go God, stop right there. So, in that nutshell, in my leadership, I think that is a report back I would like to report. Now we'll move a little bit further away from government since we've signed a dialogue with the government from Q1, Q2, now we're Q3. This dialogue doesn't allow radio now to toy to it. In other words, what I did best in my younger days, I had to stop because I've signed on the dotted line to dialogue. Dialogue means sit and talk like gentlemen and work it out. Now, I've given warning to the government that I will resign from the dialogue if it's of no use. The young people that I'm going with here now, I've told them that next year I reach my pension, collect my money, and I give it to my family, and I'm disappearing underground. Before I do so, I want to tell you something. I know Wentworth got plenty of young men here which will talk like me and listen to me. But I need to go to Wentworth one of these days, and I need to expose something there. Right now, we start off with leadership. That's unquotable. I don't break protocol. Whatever I do in life, I want it to go through leadership. If I must do something there, it will be with the leadership of God there. So what am I saying? I am saying government has lied to the KhoiSan long enough. Spoke lies. Now I'm sick of the lies. And I'm sick of sitting in a dialogue that's full of lies. You can't have a dialogue that's got no budget, that can't even help you buy ball pens. And you cannot have a dialogue when you know that your people in majority are being marginalized from the workplace and that they are not black enough. They were neither white enough before, now they're not black enough and they cannot work. So you cannot sit while your people are dying of starvation, humiliated, can't get bursary, can't get advanced, no development, taken out of soccer teams, and because why they're not part of development programs. I cannot watch that any longer. So, taking decision myself as a leader is that next year I will then resign from this dialogue. And I'm prepared to go underground and do what I do best, to free my people. So I want you to take my religious side, I want you to take my political side, and I also want you to take my governmental side. I'm operating on all these. The ANC is still a terrorist communist party. There's not once did they declare themselves free from being terrorists. Did you hear me? Should I repeat? I said the ANC engaged in becoming a terrorist party in order to achieve, and they still are, because they did not disengage themselves from that. So I want to tell you clear this morning that we are not fighting loud enough, hard enough to make this movement be heard. Some of our people laughed at some of our people who were at the union buildings, made a joke of it. But those are the people that will stand in the front line when this KhoiSan movement has achieved its achievements. They will be standing in the front line. So I want to say to you, my brothers, this morning, that let us rise. Let us unite to one fight. Do not fight something that you don't even see with your eyes. What we see with our eyes right now is the unity of a nation. And we must claim the First Nation status. Because that is our core point that makes us different. We need to claim our First Nation status. You were colored because of classification. You were classified by a Dutchman who sat in Pretoria and classified you. And that was totally wrong. You're not a colored. You are not a colored in whichever way you can look at it. You are still not a colored, even if your parents are mixed. You are not colored. So therefore, I want then, we must focus mainly on identity. Your identity is what allowed them to take your land. Your identity is what allowed them to take your culture, your religion, and your language. It was your identity which they destroyed first. And John van Riebeeck then said, I will call these people. Just one good morning that he felt good after drinking his wine. He looked over there and he saw some little yellow children, brown children running up and down. He said, I call them colored. Now if you call me colored in America, you'll get locked up. Why can't we market on that? Why can't we use that and elevate that? Wentworth is the most strongest power we have in KZN. If Wentworth had to stand up one day, the whole KZN would be converted. So I'm saying, while I was running behind walls and behind fences, I was then consolidating that one day I'll reach Wentworth and then tell the story and let Wentworth rise, aka overcome. That was all our stuff. Because what has happened? We have lost our respect of being respected. Because they ripped our culture, they ripped our language, they ripped everything about us. And then we were lower classified, colored, in order to entertain them. The time has come, my brothers, as I say, why then is there such a great need for unity? It's not about Trollip. It's not about you. What we need here today is to plan, as few as we are, mastermind, a provincial structure that comes together, which will then be the provincial power of KZN for the KhoiSan classified and colored classified KhoiSan people, all together in one, all together. Now that we have done with Peter and myself and Glenn way back years ago, we have done an interim structure. An interim structure. Interim structure. Please listen carefully. An interim structure was formed. Peter, myself, and Glenn. That interim structure must now be taken and mature into a KhoiSan KZN council. I'm sorry to say KZN. If late Chief Fun was here, he would have said Trollip. It is not KZN. It is SAN. This is a SAN province. SAN. But of course, we're not fighting for province now. We're fighting for our state. First, we've got to take things rightfully in order. The first thing we are demanding, and I want to tell you why, because I'm going to take you. My brother Paul here called me and said, let's share the heritage. Of course we share everything. But I said, Paul, I'll come with my gumboots and we're going to those bushes there around Durban, and I'll show you what the sand left there. You'll be shocked. And he said, I said, okay, let's leave that for another day. We will have a team which is going to collect our heritage, which is all over here. Are you with me? Some of ours there is exposed because someone else was using it and was getting benefits from it. So he kept it. But there's many others where the farmers now have come up on board and say, hey, my farm also got. Hey, my farm is also got. And there's many other things that are popping up now. So what am I saying, gentlemen? I am saying, gentlemen, let's get our identity cleared and focus on identity. Because the Bushmen wrote on the rock, which nobody can remove. And when he wrote on the rock, it was a signature left for us, which God allowed. And that signature then defines our first status. That signature doesn't allow us to go and debate with anyone. Because it's 20,000 years old, that writing. If you can match that, come and sit down. So then our status of First Nation is not debatable, and it's clear. So then I say our KhoiSan Council must then be put together, and then it will be handed to the Premier, the Premier, who is also a colleague and a friend, who will then entertain what is correctly done through protocol, through right orders of the day. There's many that will go to the Premier, but they will fail. I'm telling you now, the Premier is not asleep. The Premier is not stupid. And the only structure that's going to qualify there is a structure which is led by a government person and a person who was nominated by the community of KZN, and that is myself. And that is a structure which will be recognized. Unfortunately, I don't care who you are, and what you did, and what you did not do, and what degree you carry. But that is what the Premier, which then the very same bill, which is our bill, will then get the Premier locked up for doing the wrong thing. Our bill, which is now being signed, which is coming out any moment now, allows us then to go in that process. And it requests and it will ask leaders. But at the same time, I have a position through that bill and through my operation, through the global thrones, that I then have power under my king, his worship, that I can appoint 10 other leaders who qualify at that level. 10 in the province. So each of those leaders, 10 in each province, can then qualify. So as I stand here, I can appoint 10 of you to fall in that category. Which then, if you sit at the council of the KhoiSan, you then can be allocated to each municipality, district municipalities, and local municipalities. Our people will be sitting in the metro, for instance. He's got the metro, the richest, the biggest part of the chunk. So who's going to sit with him in the metro will also, hey, those are the big boys. But then, of course, as I say, that provincial structure will then network throughout all the municipalities and our people. But at the same time, our people are committed to this council, KhoiSan Council, which will have its own budget provincially. And that KhoiSan Council then delegates those people to do the various things, education, sports, you name it, all the things will come out of there. But at the same time, and I'm talking up, of course, in correction, yes, I know that next year I will then be heading towards Parliament. But out of that, I am mandated by the structure to say what I say in Parliament. Now you might ask, why are you going to Parliament now? Who told you that? Yes, I told myself that because I've worked very hard. And I know that I will qualify. As a chairperson of the province, I do qualify to be the first nominee for Parliament. Generally. So therefore then, I then take my mandate from that provincial structure and take it to Parliament and make sure that it goes into the budget, the national budget. So then this provincial structure can work. But at the same time, the things that you pick up from your councils, your local council, district council, you bring them here so that I report them to national. The national knows how best to sort out those municipalities because the KhoiSan now will be doing governance in the country. I don't know if you're ready for that. That's where we're moving in, to do governance in the country. And they say the only way this country is going to be saved is by bringing in KhoiSan people into the municipalities, into the institutions, SASA, and of course, you name it, social development, and the rest of it. So finally, I'm going to be saying, yes, that's where we are trying to get this provincial structure organized, since there is an interim. It's not so hard because there is an interim, and bring that together and to finalize something because government is waiting. There's 3 other things that are in process. One, the provincial trust. The provincial trust works like this. The 5 people, which are 5 bloodlines, must select people from their communities that will sit on that trust. Now, I want you to understand one good thing. The word that was given for this document, it's called trust. Not this one. But the trust document is called trust. So you bring people you trust, and only people that we trust will go on that document. If you are not trustworthy, you cannot go on that document, because we'll be dead and gone, ran these hills and did everything, and then our children will be chucked out in the streets by these untrustworthy people sitting in this trust. So we're not going to allow untrustworthy people to sit there. No, sir. Tell you now. We won't. We make sure you are trustworthy. We make sure you got a good heart. You're not bad, hard, and evil. So that's it. You're going in there, and you're going to sit there, because you determine now our trust. Everything we own as KhoiSan, not everything, of course. That's why I'll have another trust inside. But it is all government given stuff. Are you listening? Don't get me wrong. Don't run into my trust because you'll run against a concrete wall. This trust only controls what government gave. And these people only control what government gave according to the trust and its affiliations, bloodlines. So that is it. That's what's coming now. We need to sort that out quickly, because there's a guy called Errol Haynes who's pushing that thing. And he's pushing it like crazy. And I told him that thing was not double-checked. That trust was never double-checked. And I told the chair yesterday, don't you think in KZN we'll just fall for that trust? We won't fall. That trust was not double-checked, and we requested, and they undermined my wording there. It's in the minutes. We requested that that trust must be rechecked, because they put officials in the trust, government officials. They put, I don't know who, and Errol is driving that nonsense. So me and Errol don't hit it up, because we clash all the time. So Errol is then pushing that thing. It must come, it must come. And I said, you might come here and I won't even attend that meeting, and the meeting will be invalid. Why? Because I'm not for that trust. I am saying, we've got lawyers, don't we?
Yes.
How many lawyers in Wentworth? A dozen.
Judges.
The whole duty is there. We want those people to look at that trust, my chief, just browse, and they will cross quickly, and then amend that thing, and then give us that thing. What's this rush? What's the rush of us getting this trust which is not right? Please get me there, correct? I would love our experts in legal law to look at the trust and finalize it. And we've got our brother here who is brilliant, and I know he look at that thing and tell me straight, this is what? So that's where the trust is, and Errol Haynes is pushing like crazy. He wanted to get this thing here before December. Now he's trying to get it here before January. And I don't know. I said, no, you will get it. No way. I don't know where you're running to. Because you're not going to run with that piece of shit into case of that. You'll run with other problems when the leaders sit down and say, okay. Yeah, so it's the trust that's coming strongly that they want to do. It is the provincial gathering which government must facilitate us to get to a venue that's coming. And in that provincial gathering of the government, it's where they allow the report back from the reference group, like what I'm doing here now. I'll be doing there again and repeat. So that's what Glenn actually said to me this morning. He said, what are you going to do in Durban? He was doing it again in the meeting. I said, yeah, it's fine. I can do it 5 times, 10 times. It must be done, because people need to know. So we'll be doing that soon. In fact, they wanted that provincial gathering before Kingdom 3. Because in that gathering we can pick up a lot of things. And we can say things, and then we can also collect things to correct. So finally, I'm going to say, gentlemen, yes, that is where we are. And that's where our fight is to get the bill out into our hands, which the AAK and NKC put together for 30 years. And then also we need to adopt the NKC members onto our structure, because I feel it's our people. They did good. But what they did, but they had the government to face, who actually did the same thing that they do to us. So then, of course, then it is the policy which allows us to claim our heritage sites and our land back. That is why now the forwarded statement to the Ngonyama Trust to release the land because it belongs to the KhoiSan. They won't say all that, but they want the land back from the Ngonyama Trust because the KhoiSan want their land. So the government's already busy doing it. I think you've seen that. So gentlemen, I'm going to stop there. There's a lot to talk about. We can talk here the whole day, the whole night. And I'll tell you issues. But I think I stopped there finally. That is quite just a consolidated report. I'm also a commissioner for culture, religion, and language. And I haven't even touched Wentworth because in CRL, there is no program to go to Wentworth. So I'm going to Cape Town in 2 weeks' time to go and formulate a document which will then allow me to go to Wentworth. That document then will speak in KhoiSan, culture, religion, and language, which we will put together in Cape Town. So I want to tell you in brief, why am I not in Wentworth? It is simply because the document, the CRL, in 15 years in existence, doesn't have a KhoiSan document, which I have now discovered, and then I'm going to Cape Town. When I come back, I promise I'm going to be speaking on culture, religion, and language in Wentworth. Thank you very much.
Let's have a round of applause for I think can we raise a few questions? I've got to do this fast. I've got another meeting to attend. Can you hold this?
Also give some troubles.
Just be careful of what I think, firstly,
can you just introduce yourself for the audio and visual?
I am Rasul Snyman. I'm from the Khoi Liberation Movement. Reclaiming the Cullinan Diamond from the Queen. We're looking at supporting the Baswara in Botswana. We're looking at fighting the struggle at an ideological, cultural, and political level. I'm involved in land claims. I do business development, I do strategic thinking and political work. I just want to know, some of my questions have been answered. For example, when we say the projects that can be submitted, is there a deadline? Can we still submit projects? Because we can still produce and submit projects so that we have more on the table than 10. If we can do that, we can even submit for other provinces as well, because I have been to Northern Cape, and I've worked with the people in Northern Cape, in Ringfasma, and on that side, and their project, I'm in constant communication with them. They also, we know what to do. I can put together a package and give it to you. The second thing is the 25 farms. I think I've been answered to some extent in the sense that there's going to be trust. And these farms will go into trust, if I understand it correctly. If that is the case, then we have to look at the criteria of who becomes a trustee. What is the criteria of someone being in a trust? And how are the terms of the trust holding them accountable? Because in land claims down here, we've seen the trust being formed and then being hijacked in the very same way you pointed, where they say government officials are part of the trust. Then they form these other entities on the side which compete with the trust. Then we have sub-trusts. Now we have to look at a mechanism that ensures that all of this is dealt with. When we look at the council, for example, you raised a couple of very important questions. When we look at KZN, we haven't thoroughly investigated KZN to say, where are our properties here? For example, in Tutlui, they are paintings. If you go down the south coast in what do you call this, in Gamalake, down that way, they are paintings, but no one has to date set up a register of these paintings. And from those paintings now institute claims on the very same land. We did a claim down there that was worth one farm with a project that was worth 1.5 billion rand. Now, this is the magnitude of the land that we should have been claiming, and of course we have the skills to develop. Now I am saying if this council can be structured correctly, if this council can focus, if this council can take away the politics of leadership, because the KhoiSan struggle right now is bogged down with the politics of leadership, where everybody is competing with everyone else to be the leader of and have 100% of nothing. And we have to then sit and say, if we're going to do this, how do we have a criteria? What becomes the process? And how do we hold these people accountable? If we can do that, I think we can resolve the majority of the problems that we have here. And I think it's a time for us to rethink how we think. Not just think, but to think about thinking. Because we've been thinking wrong. We have been thinking, but we're thinking wrong. So let's take everything, let's not make each other enemies, let's look at what went wrong, let's look at what can be fixed, let's look at what can't be fixed. We have a problem with the fact that governments, maybe some of it is due to not having the resources. We have a problem with the fact that government can put together a body and not fund it. When at the same time they can give the Guptas 11 billion rand as advance payment. So I'm not quite accepting the fact that government cannot fund these things. What I'm saying is that we are not asking militantly enough from the ground for government to allocate the funds. We're not beggars to government. We are government. We pay taxes, I pay taxes. Therefore, the money that government gives us is not their money. It's our money, which we're entitled to. Another argument I have with government is that government is the servant of the people. If government is the servant of the people, then they should listen to us, not us take instruction from them. My domestic servant can't tell me whether I should have a budget for my groceries or not. And I think that's where the paradigm shift has to happen, where we begin to take power. When you talk about Wentworth, we'd like to. Personally, I would like to see an allocation of budget and demands from the various departments, whether be it culture, whether be it economic development, whether be it any other department that can, agriculture as well, and human settlements, where we can sit down and say, never mind Kimberley, please. What do we do now? As we speak, the Black Land First, for example, wants to take land. If they take land and we're going to argue with them instead of arguing with government, now we're having a fight with different people who are different players in a longer term fight. So maybe what I would suggest as a proposal, I'm going to propose that we set up a structure, but set up a structure that's very smart, that the criteria is right. We don't set up a structure where we choose someone because it gives out free t-shirts. We choose someone that's smart, we choose people that know what they want to do, that know the political language, and be able to leverage government. We can run programs in Wentworth, Newlands, in fact wherever we can run programs. But we've got to demand these monies from government. So I would propose that even if an interim council goes next week and says to government, here's a proposal. If government needs a proposal, I'll put a proposal together in 2 days, I'll give them a proposal. Through you, we can do that. But the thing is, let's not argue over the petty things. Let's not worry about who's the chief and who isn't the chief and who's the paramount chief and who's 10 paramount chiefs fighting over one seat. Let us all get together and function. Let's put all the other things aside. If we adopt a program, we say, okay, KZN has 25 towns. We're going to, in the year, we're going to do 25 towns. Economic development, identity. We're going to talk about the artifacts. We're going to talk about reclamation. We're going to do all that in one group. And I think for me, if we can all sit here today and be focused and in principle agree Never mind the differences, because we've got differences and there'll always be differences. If we can in principle agree and say we want these 5 things in the year and just do them, I'd be happy.
Can I just quickly answer, just quickly. The trust, I think, is correct. I did say that you looked at the trust and say this is rubbish. So we need to relook at the trust. We agree on that, right? Immunity. Then the council issue, it's a very serious thing. The council then, when it gets a budget, it will then have a team that goes out to find the heritage, find it, and bring it on board. There will be a team with a 4x4, a red one, as they said, labels on the side, but KhoiSan, that will go out just specifically finding heritage sites, right? Because there will be a budget to come. And then, of course, historical landmarks and heritage. Heritage is where the drawings are, is where something was done or a ring was made by the Bushmen. But historical landmark is a township. This is what you'll need to clear yourselves in. Wentworth is a historical landmark. All colored townships basically qualify to be historical landmarks because wherever they interfere with your human rights, that place is historical. So all townships in this country have colors only because they're the only ones classified. Those colored townships have become historical landmarks, so they are already under a claim. So those townships become claim and they become our own properties and our own style of development. Then, of course, yeah, I think we've said it all day. I just wanted to elaborate on the historical and just say, yeah, I hear what you're saying. The council should start tomorrow as quick as possible. Maybe before we leave here, we find a date. We find a date because you are a funding. Now I'm going to Cape Town to formulate a document for the KhoiSan. As I said, I'll come back to Wentworth to teach, but I don't have a document as a CRL. So in fact, in Cape Town, I'm hiring people of your nature, people of your caliber. I've got to hire them there as consultants. Now, if I was doing it here in Durban, I would have just had you. But since I'm there, I've hired them there to assist me to do that. But it is important there to really have a man of this caliber with us. Very, very important. Because I know how he works, and I know what he can push and do. So really, we are blessed. Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. My name is Patrick Dunn. Chief, you said some good things, and I like what you said. You're fighter, you're underground, so that's good. I thought I was the only one thinking in those terms, you know. So I thought I'm going shambles, but I'm not about, you know. But what I'd like to say, I'll only differ with you at one point, and the one point I'll differ with you because I've been thinking. I listened to Paul, listened to everybody since I've returned back to the country. And I've come up with a few suggestions. Suggestion number one, that you say let's fight for First Nation status, but I would say what I've been thinking before going to First Nation First Nation status, I must claim my identity first, me as Patrick, because I was asked in a foreign country, we hear you got an accent from where you're from, South Africa, which tribe you belong to. Ladies, gentlemen, I was left dumbstruck till this very moment. And when I opened the first bank account when I came to South Africa, a Zulu guy tells me, he looks at me and he calls me a colored. For me, it was humiliating.
Of course.
It was humiliating. The white man called me a colored. A black man can call me a colored now. At one of the branches now. I came back home and I was so messed up. And people ask me what national you are. I said, you tell me what I am. And I challenged a lot of things. Recently, there was an enterprise development show at the ICC. And because the agency was attacked by the Khoi brothers in Pietermaritzburg, they changed to the colored. And my company just came in there and said, Mr. Dunn, we see you're a colored, the Dunn's a colored, we push you in. That's the only way I got to the IC to exhibit my products and doing. So I said, oh wow, so you're telling me something that I don't know. So step back. But my approach to this, Chief, and I differ you with a point you said, KhoiSan. I would say, I'm prepared to go to the Parliament and claim a new ID as a San Khoi, breaking it down, defining South African national Khoi. So I'm taking KhoiSan, but I'm reversing the words. South African national. So automatically it qualifies me as a First Nation status, as an individual. So once I get myself KhoiSan or San Khoi, it automatically becomes me First Nation already before even going to Parliament. I've got letters drafted already for the executive, for the Ministry of Department of Home Affairs, and so on. So should it deny me my status as a San Khoi, and then I've got to fight with them. I already got drafted, I'll send you a copy. Because only executive can make changes for those executive because it's administration situation. And right. And another thing you mentioned, will add value and really enlighten the group here, is that because I claim myself as a San Khoi, I automatically can claim the paintings and the heritage, because that becomes an intellectual property. And the actual intellectual property states throughout this country and every country that even if I claim international status now for any intellectual property in this country, it automatically allows me to have range in every country. It's world intellectual property. South African government cannot stop me, or American government cannot stop me. Because if there's painting a KhoiSan, and if I say I'm a San Khoi, it automatically gives me a right to those paintings. Because they become intellectual property. And that's under the Wentworth World Intellectual Property Organization, which I'm strong with intellectual property. So that is what the strong point is. And no blacks can say that. So if one of our forefathers wrote on the rocks in Pietermaritzburg or wherever the case may be, that becomes intellectual property. That means first claim to the First Nation automatically falls in without even us fighting it. Automatically, because we have paintings on there to show that the first inhabitants of here. When a country overcomes another country in any war whatsoever, the first thing is to put up is a flag. That is the claim of that land to say we first arrived here. We've conquered. This is the first status. And no government can stop you from that.